Mixing templates. Some engineers love them, others hate them. For me personally, I love them. Simply because all I have to do is choose my mixing template session, drag and drop my files in, plugins are there ready, clean up my files, edit them, and I'm ready to go. So if you're not using mixing templates already, why not? Joke. So I'm going to show you how to create a very basic beginner mixing template so that you can use for whenever you want. I'm just going to use stock plugins for this, Logic stock plugins. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is open a session, new session. So click new. I'm just going to open up. It's going to prompt you to make audio files. So choose audio. Then we're going to call that beat. If you mix a lot of music and you just get the beat sent to you, then you can just drop your beat onto that. The beat. So for your beat, you want to put a BPM counter on there as well. So when you drop your beat in, you can get the BPM for your beat and just make sure that you've got the correct BPM for your session. Because when you start to use delays and your effects without the correct BPM, it's going to be all over the shops and you don't want that to happen. So make sure when you've drag and dropped your files in, your BPM's correct. So then we want some vocals. So normally if you're working with a rapper, you're going to have like 4 or 5 maybe of vocals. You're going to have main vocal, ad-libs, stabs and a double. So we're going to create 5 channels, and the first one we're going to call main vocal, double, stabs, left, stabs, right. And if you just press tab, so you can press up and tab and it will go back up to where you want to type in. So if you press tab, it will go down to the next available channel. So we've got the stabs, and then we've got ad-libs. Now you can color code these. I like to color code mine, so you can do that, or you can do that in your session. It's entirely up to you. You can put icons on there if you want to. I don't really mess about with icons. If you want to have colors on the sides, where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right click and go to assign track color, and you can see at the moment it's blue, and your color wheel will pop up, your color chart. Usually for my beats I'll have it in red, and then my vocals, if it's male vocals, it'd be blue. And just going down in the color chart there, we can just change those. So main vocal blue, stabs, we could make the stabs the same color. They look really similar. And then ad-libs, we're gonna go for that blue there. When you drop your file onto that channel, it will change color. So for example, say I've got the beat, which is Nave Smalls, and that'll be red. And the same with vocals, you see it changed color, so all is good. So the next, once we've got our channel set up, we're going to send these to a bus. So you've done that. Now we want to create some buses. Say for example, you want on your main vocal, you want some effects like the reverb or delay, and instead of inserting your reverb, your processing on the channel, you can just put it onto a bus and send everything to that bus. I'll show you how. So everything's going to have the same processing. We're going to choose, oops, so your buses, sends, bus 1, that's going to be delay 1, we're going to call it. And then we'll say we've got 2 delays, bus 2, name it delay 2. Okay, let's put a little space in here so it doesn't get confusing. And then a reverb, which is going to be on bus 3. We want to make these all stereo files, stereo channels, stereo Auxes. We're going to make them all stereo. You don't have to have them turned on, you can have them turned off. So now you've got your effects. The 2 main vocals, the main vocal and your double, we're going to send that to a bus, and then we're going to send the stabs and the ad-libs to its own bus, so you can just treat them as one. Or you don't have to, you can have them all sent to one bus, but yeah, it's entirely up to you. But we're going to create a bus for the main vocals, which is going to be bus 4, and we're going to reverb, forgot to name it. Then we're going to name that main vocals, or main vox bus. Yep. And then our ad-libs and stabs, we're going to put that on bus 5, and we're going to call that ad libs bus. Now we've got the two buses for the vocals. We're going to change the color of those so you can see straight away that these are vocal buses and these are our effects. You can change the color of those if you want. You're not feeling that, but I normally just leave it that color. I've had it like that for years, so I haven't bothered changing it. But for today's purposes of the video, we're going to leave it as a slightly orange color. So once you've got all your levels for your vocals, you can just use this fader, which is a group of all your vocals. You can just use these faders to bring them up and down instead of having to individually change them. Once you've got a nice balance, and that's the purpose of having these buses. Let's go back to the effects. We're going to choose our delay. We want a stereo delay on that one. We can turn that off. We're going to have a tape delay on this second one. We're going to turn that off. And then we're going to have reverb on the third bus, which is chromaverb. Turn that off. So now when you're processing your vocals, they will all have the same reverb. They were all sent to the same reverb, all sent to the same delay, and so on and so forth. On our main output, we're going to put an EQ, channel EQ, and turn that off. A compressor, a little bit of bus compression if that's what you like to use. And then we're going to put a limiter on there as well. By putting a limiter on there, you can get to a decent level so you know how your mix is going to sound when it is mastered. So once you've created your template, we're going to need to save it as a template. You can't just save it as a normal session, otherwise it's just going to be a normal session. So go to File, Save as Template. So I'm just going to call this Mixing Template Beginner. Name it whatever you want to name it. Mixing Template number 1, 2, 3, Top Engineer Template, whatever you want to call it. And then we hit Save. So now every time you open up, well, you go from new from template. So every time we go from new from template, you're going to go to, what did we name it? Mixing Template Beginners. And then you're going to have your session ready to go. If you want to see how I created a much more in-depth, intermediate and advanced mixing template, then watch this next video.